There are few players in this year's tournament that have more big game experience than Jeremy Roach, but after 4 years at Duke, he is now spending his 5th season running the show at Baylor. And guess what? Those two teams could very possibly match up this weekend. For more, we talked to the super senior just yesterday.
A text message about Jeremy Roach. You were a rising 9th grader in high school, and it was like, this guy's got the goods. He's going to be a player coming out of Team Takeover. And that makes you a really, I think from a historical perspective, gives you some unique perspective about how this landscape of college basketball has changed since you went through the recruiting process and played your 4 years at Duke and now at Baylor. As you look back on the totality of your journey, what is like most surprising to you about where we are today?
What's surprising to me? Obviously that NIL is in effect. I think that's the biggest thing. From when I got recruited, and you couldn't even think about taking any money and stuff like that, or you're gonna be suspended and all that stuff like that. So now you can do deals and get money from this and that. So it's been definitely a change up for sure.
And one of the things that's interesting about NIL and the various kind of buckets that it comes in is, you have some very unique deals where people play off your names and stuff like that. So your last name, Roach, has led you to a deal with Raid. Is that correct? Tell me how that came to be.
Got the opportunity last year. My agent called me and it's like, you want to do something with Raid? And like I said earlier, somebody actually wanted to, or when NIL first started, they were like, yeah, you should do something with Raid. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know if they'd be interested in doing something. But when I got the call, it was a no-brainer. Keep the last name in-house. And obviously doing it with Dariana Buggs last year. And then for the second year, got another opportunity. It was a no-brainer. Now me and Dariana are actually in the same school, so it makes it even more special.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what'd your teammates say when you first said, yeah, I got to deal with Raid? You got any bees? Let me know. What'd they say?
Any roaches, but it was great. It was super exciting. A couple of them laughed, and it was like, yeah, that's actually super cool. As funny as it is, it's actually one of the coolest things out. So, like I said, just keeping my last name and doing something for my last name. I think I was a perfect fit. Me and Dariana. So.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, now let's talk about this year, because obviously you played 4 years at Duke. You were starter 3.5 years, captain, get to Baylor this year. And I know you guys have just been riddled by injuries, but I want to go directly to Selection Sunday. Tell me where you guys were and what your reaction was when you saw that bracket.
It's called the Courtside Club. It's right next to Foster. It's just a little eating area. We usually do our pregame film and our chapters and stuff. But when we seen our name, they called. It was just super exciting. Everybody knew we were going to be in the tournament, but we just didn't know what seed we were going to be, either 10, 7, 8, or 9 seed. When we got the chance to be a 9 seed, it's super grateful. But it doesn't really matter what seed you are. This matters if you get an opportunity to play in March Madness, and I think that's the biggest thing. Giving ourselves the opportunity to compete at a national championship is huge, and everybody was just super, super excited. And obviously, there was a lot of controversy and a lot of hype about where we were at and who was in our bracket. And I'm not really worried about that. Really, just worried about the first game and taking care of business the first game. So, like I said, it's a lot of people there's a lot of people out there watching college basketball that would do anything to get into March Madness. And for this to be my 4th year, getting the opportunity to play in March Madness is huge. So definitely won't take that lightly.
Now, for those of us who have covered the NCAA tournament for a long time, we know that oftentimes these connections, they happen too frequently for them to be perceived ironic. Whether it's, this year it's like Will Wade going to play Clemson where he went to college, or, Self and Calipari in the first round. When you saw Duke write looming on the horizon if you guys were to win the first game. Like, how long did that take it to resonate? And was that something that you had considered possible prior to that?
I kind of knew the committee was going to do something like that. Just knowing how the committee works, they always want a good storyline. I mean, I remember the UNC Duke Final Four game for Coach K's last game of his career. But yeah, I mean, seeing him in the bracket, I mean, it was definitely cool. But like I said, we got to take it one game at a time, because if we don't win the first one, we can't even get to the second game. And obviously, they got to do the same thing too.
Right.
Win their first one, but we get that matchup. It's gonna be just super excited. It's gonna be a fun game to watch. It's gonna be a fun game just to play in, and just gonna be grateful for that opportunity too.
Now, regardless of whether or not you guys face them in the NCAA tournament, one of the things I was planning on asking you long before I saw the bracket, because I think it illuminates what happens behind the scenes in this era of college basketball, is when so many kids go into the portal every year. Your situation was obviously unique because you played 4 years at Duke and then you went into the portal. So it was rare, not unique. But how often do you still talk to your former teammates at Duke? And do you think that's consistent with what you've seen, given all the people you've played with who transferred at one point in time?
I'm talking to them pretty. I mean, it's really just like Tyrese and my boy Spencer, talking to them too. But I definitely been talking to him throughout the season. Hasn't been heavy, but definitely we checking on each other for sure, just to see how everybody's doing, see how everybody's mental is, and just to make sure everybody's doing good, because we generally care about each other. I think that's the biggest thing. When you're just with someone for so long, you just get a love for them. Just make sure you got to check up on them. Just make sure everybody's doing good. I mean, we call everybody. I mean, Mark Mitchell at Missouri, Christian Reeves at Clemson. I mean, Jaden Shute at VTech. I mean, TJ at Virginia. Like, we're just calling everybody just to make sure everybody's good from that team, and make sure everybody's doing.
And of course, you're not the only one, right? Like, all your teammates probably have other teammates that they've interacted. In some ways, it's much more comparable to what you guys experienced coming up the ranks in AAU. Although I know your background was rare in that case too, because you stayed with one EYBL program the whole time. Let me ask you specifically about Baylor, though. A couple of years ago, I went down to Waco and I got to watch them practice. And I will admit to you, I came in and I was like, oh, culture of joy, like that's got to be like a marketing narrative or something like that. And I was really taken aback by just how happy everybody was there. Like, it seemed to be like a legitimate thing. Talk to me a little bit about like the culture of joy and what this year has been like for you at Baylor.
Yeah, the culture of joy, Jesus of yourself. I think that's a real thing. Like you said, how everybody's so happy. Everybody is so happy, especially Coach Drew. Like, even when I first got here, it was like, oh, okay, he's happy right now. Like, this is the first day. Even first workout, he's still happy. Just throughout the whole season, he's had the same like this happiness, the same like this. I don't know. It's just weird. Like, cause I mean, for me, like I can be happy one day and then not be in the mood to talk or whatever like that the next day. But like, it's just super consistent with him. And I think that's what makes this program so special. And then he's always reiterating the culture of joy, just use other yourself. Really just to focus on Jesus first, and then your other second, and then yourself last. I think that's the biggest thing. When you focus on other people, you blossom more, and everybody builds a stronger connection around you. So that culture of joy is real, and you can see why Baylor is such a dominant program too.
And that approach, that culture, had to be a key ingredient to you guys fighting through so much adversity, so many injuries, and people taking on different roles. Talk to me about what this year has been like for you in terms of embracing a different role than you've played in a long time.
Yeah, it's been cool. I mean, I like the experience. I like the trials that this season's put me through. I like all the good that it's put me through. But it's definitely been definitely good learning experience for sure. Just being injured. I mean, I've gotten 2 concussions in one season. I mean, I've never hit my head so many times throughout the season. So that's something I've had to get over and fight through. And then obviously playing a different role too, just being that leader, just being that vet out there, being that guy who's always poised out there. It's been a huge thing for me. But definitely grateful for every opportunity, every experience that I've faced at Baylor, and it's going to make me better in the long run too. So.
All right, Jeremy, we know you got a busy week. You're getting ready for at least one game, hopefully more than that. So we appreciate you finding some time, and good luck this week.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.